Why am I standing for election again? Well, look, I know that the last few years have been tough. We had a pandemic with all that disruption it brought to our lives, and then when Putin invaded Ukraine, the cost of living went through the roof. Basic foodstuffs became much more expensive. But the good news is inflation is now back to normal. That's taken a lot of hard work, but I think we can use that as a platform for better times ahead. And for me, I am proud of our record and our contribution in these huge events that have happened in the last few years. If you take the pandemic, the UK was the first country to deliver at scale a successful vaccine. Without that, we might have stayed locked down for who knows how long. And if you look at the energy crisis, when prices surged through the roof, I was there in Treasury when we gave out significant help to people. The available support for businesses with energy bills is worth up to £18 billion for 6 months. That is an extraordinary level of support. Looking at the war in Ukraine, we can be proud of Britain's role. If Ukraine had fallen early and Russia had successfully invaded it, we could have been in a situation like the late 1930s. The Prime Minister confirmed that this government is committed to increasing defence spending to 2.5% of GDP with a fully funded plan. The fact that Britain early on was able to provide such huge support to Ukraine and rally our allies has kept it in the fight. But these are still challenging times militarily, and as a Defence Minister I've been really proud to instigate significant reform of procurement so that we've been able to replenish the munitions of our own armed forces. But I know what matters to people most is what we're delivering here in South Suffolk. When I think of the pandemic, I remember that when I was first elected in 2015, the most common issue with constituents was lack of access to superfast broadband. And yet by the pandemic, most households, crucially, were able in part to survive it because they had superfast broadband. Equally, I remember when we had diesel trains going from Marks Tey to Sudbury, which would break down because of leaves on the line. We now have these wonderful new trains and a much better service. When it comes to your priorities, I know that the NHS is right there at the top. At the last election, I campaigned for a new hospital in West Suffolk, and we will be delivering a brand new, completely rebuilt West Suffolk Hospital, over £500 million, and it's on schedule. But a really big factor if you want to be the MP for South Suffolk is you've got to be that strong voice for local people, defending the rural way of life. National Grid want to put pylons right across our countryside, and I have stood up against that. I demanded choice for my constituents, so I've managed to persuade the government to consider an urgent review on the fact that we always presume pylons are better. I take a different view, and that will be my position at this election. And when it comes to protecting the countryside, obviously we've got this crucial issue of development. There are those who seem to argue that somehow you need to abolish planning rules to get housing built, but I've found that by working with communities, persuading them to bring forward a neighbourhood plan, they can deliver homes, but crucially with their consent. That's the principle I will be standing on, giving you a say in where housing goes, standing up for our countryside, and I'd be incredibly honoured and privileged to have your support at the general election.